Well, here we go. Welcome to episode 1 of Cameony's Single Dad's Way to Work podcast with your host, Cameony, where we talk about anything and everything, but especially video games and being a single dad and looking for love in all the wrong places. Well, fellas, this one goes out to all the lonely men, single men, and people like me who love video games and women and their children. I gotta say, just because someone finally shows an interest in you doesn't mean you have to stay with them, as I learned the hard way. I was with my ex for 9 years. We were married for 4, and I told her at the very beginning of our relationship, I am looking to become a father and find someone to spend the rest of my life with. She said, I don't know if I want kids, but okay. So, 8 years later, and change, I'm a dad. Just a couple months, well, about a year and change later, now I'm a single dad. And she has primary physical custody. At the moment, we're going through the court system bullshit. But she's going to have primary physical custody since our son is still a baby. She was, to my knowledge, the first woman that ever showed an interest in me. I got with her when I was 21, and now I'm 31. She left me at 30. 2 weeks before my birthday, 2 weeks after our 4-year wedding anniversary. I gotta say, it has not been a fun time. To put it very lightly. All of these years I've been hearing jokes about, guys should never get married. It's just a trap. There's no point to it. Divorce rates are so high. And I always thought, those people are, they just got unlucky. Bad luck, very bad luck. Not me, though. I got my one and done. She's my first everything. She's going to be my last everything. Well, not so much. There comes a point in every man's life, or most men, I'm not going to discriminate, that they're with someone. It could be in the beginning, it could be years down the line. You're with someone, and you think to yourself, I don't really think this is working out. And it's okay to say out loud, it's not working out, and go look for someone else. It's risky. It can be risky, but only in the sense that you'll be lonely, possibly. But would you rather be single and a bit lonely, or with someone who makes you miserable every day? I took the latter option. But they always say when you're in it, you don't really necessarily feel it. A rat doesn't smell his own hole. Unless it's really bad, you typically don't smell your own farts when you're taking a shit. But once you leave that bathroom, come back because you forgot your book or something, you feel like you're about to die because of how bad it smells. Well, relationships can be like that. Or at least in my very, very limited experience, they can be. So, fellas, it's okay to take a step back and say, maybe this isn't working out. There's nothing wrong with that. You could always potentially find someone new. You don't have to stay with someone just because you don't think that you'll be able to get with someone. In my relationship, I didn't think it was that bad. I really didn't. I got upset, sad, whatever other negative emotions you want to think of occasionally. But my ex apparently was just miserable for years. I had no clue. I didn't think our relationship was that bad. But looking back, it's probably should have been obvious. I loved her. Obviously, quite a bit more than she ever loved me. And as much as that hurts, at the end of the day, we're both better off not being with each other. I always thought that it was, you could have some opposing beliefs, but and this is going to sound stupid, stick with your politics. Stick with your politics. If you are a conservative, a righty, whatever you want to say, you do not want to get with a liberal. There will be so many fundamental differences in the way that you think about certain things that will also contribute to any potential downfall of a relationship. I will say, though, despite all the negatives, there were many, many positives. I loved that woman for the last 9 years. Again, apparently more than she loved me. That's okay. And we produced I know every parent says it, but we made the cutest kid that I've ever seen. And that's not me tooting my own horn. I don't think. He is genuinely, objectively, the most fucking adorable baby that I've ever seen in my life. He got his grandpa's blue eyes. He loves to run around. That means Daddy's going to have to lose some weight. I wasn't expecting him to be quite this active. Oh, boy. Just thinking about him gets a big old grin on my face. I actively wanted to become a father since I was a teenager. As strange as that is to say. I've always wanted a little mini-me running around. And now I have a little mini-me running around. I wish it wasn't only every other day. I miss him being with me all the time, getting to see him whenever I just turn my head. But as much as it hurts, it is for the best for really all three of us. Hopefully she'll find someone better suited for her that'll do a good job helping take care of my son, and hopefully I'll find someone better suited for me that'll also help take care of my son. As kind of shitty of a way to say that as that is. And it's better for my son as well, because he won't have one of his parents being miserable all the time. But that's enough of the sad shit. Don't really want to talk about that anymore. onto the more fun stuff. I also love video games. I love video games a lot. I didn't get to go out much as a kid. Didn't live in the best area, so my mom was always very paranoid about me going anywhere. So I turned to video games. So I still love video games. Like right now I'm playing old school RuneScape, not RS3. For those of you who used to play but don't anymore, if you didn't know, back in, I want to say it was like 2008, Jagex introduced what they called the evolution of combat to RuneScape. And they'd already been making some odd changes that were kind of dividing the fan base. Like there was a toll belt that was just shit you could carry on you that you couldn't lose when you died. Like, I think it was like the sextant watch and chart, shovel, or a spade, excuse me. And like a bronze pick and wood cutting axe. There was like a coin pouch. I think you could lose your money when you died with that. And there was also a new skill called summoning. And it was kind of... I vaguely remember it being somewhat divisive. I liked all of it. Except for the summoning. Summoning was fucking annoying. That's neither here nor there. Well, they also introduced that evolution of combat that changed up how fighting worked to be more in line with something like World of Warcraft. If I'm not mistaken, I never really played World of Warcraft. But that made a massive drop in player base because no one liked it. It was annoying, it was weird, and it just wasn't RuneScape anymore. It didn't feel like RuneScape. And with the evolution of combat also came graphical changes. So it looked different too. So it wasn't RuneScape anymore. It was more like World of Warcraft with a weird combat system. So they had a massive drop off in players. But they kept it up for a couple years. And then eventually they introduced old school RuneScape, which was the 2007 build of RuneScape. And that is the main RuneScape that's played now. People actually like old school RuneScape. So that's the one that I play as well. The only thing that sucks is, despite it being the 2007 build, you still had your character. You didn't have your character's stats and items and shit. It didn't save your character from that 2007 build. You just had to start a whole ass new character. No quests done. All your stats were reset. You don't have any of your items. Everything. Complete reset except for your character's name. And I think what your character looked like. I guess it saved that somehow. I don't fucking know how that shit works. But that made a lot of old players that didn't quit come back. I personally went back about a year later, and now they do different updates for that, which I think is pretty fucking cool. What we have now is what the 07 is what the evolution of combat RuneScape 3 should have been. They should have never changed it. It was one of the worst mistakes that company has ever made, and they've made a lot of mistakes. But they brought back the old school RuneScape, so it's not shitty. It's a good time. I've been playing that game probably 20 years, maybe a little bit more at this point. And I still don't quite understand how people make so much goddamn money in that game. Like, skilling only gets you so much money. But bossing is where the real cash is at. But I suck at bosses. So I just don't understand how people get good at those bosses. I really don't. Because you also have to have good gear. and like the items to back you up, like for heals and combat boosts and shit. I just can't do it. Like it truly is 100% a skill issue on my end. I just suck at that game, but I still love it. I have fun with it. I'm doing on the game what I want to do on the game, so I'm not just trying to gather money all the time too. I go out, and my main thing when I first started back up was I set a goal to get 85 Slayer, because I've always wanted to fight Abyssal Demons and try to earn my own Abyssal Whip. When I just reached that goal a couple weeks ago, it took me, I think, like 8 years. It took me about 8 years. There was also periods, like not straight, like because there were periods where I just stopped playing it because either I couldn't afford it, or I was too busy, or I just didn't feel like playing, so I'd let my membership lapse. But I'm back into it now. I'm having a good time. But I finally got 85 Slayer. I got base 90s for the melee combat stats. My magic level's like 90 something. I want to say 90 or 91. I still only have 70 something prayer. And I got like, I think it's 86 ranged. So it's not the best account, but it's the best that my account has ever been. I would absolutely whoop the shit out of my original account. My current account would whoop the shit out of my old account on RS3. Let me say that way. But if you played RuneScape back in the day and you quit playing, I personally would recommend getting back into it on old school RuneScape. It's very, very fun. But just know, if you did have an account, it's probably either hacked, or you're gonna have to start from scratch if you do play old school RuneScape. That's just your fair warning. Now, other video games. I do have fun with a lot of other video games, but at the moment, I can't really think anything. Like, I've kind of been going back through Dark Souls 3. I don't really have any particular goal with that one. I just have been kind of going back through it. I guess the closest thing I have to a goal is trying to get the rest of the achievements. I did that with Dark Souls 1 a few months back. I just reinstalled it, went back through, and got all the shit so I could get... I guess you could say platinum all the achievements. Like, I don't know what it would be on Steam. It's just Steam achievements. I got all of them. So I kind of want to do that with Dark Souls 3 as well. But at the same time, it's so much more of a pain in the ass. Because on Dark Souls 1, there were items you had to collect from various covenants to be able to level up enough in the covenant to get that achievement for the to just get that achievement. With Dark Souls 3, you have to grind certain enemies if you don't want to do the online shit. And I don't want to do the online shit because I suck at PvP, and all it does is piss me off. But you have to go and grind a shit ton of enemies of a certain type. Like, I don't remember or care what the one clan, whatever the fuck it is called. But you got to get, like, ears from the people that you kill. You can go to Anor Londo on 3 and kill the Silver Knights and get those ears. But they're like a 0.16% drop or something like that. You're going to be grinding for a while, because I think you need 50 to max out. And it is so annoying. Even whenever you get strong enough to the point where you're one-shotting the enemies that you're trying to grind out, it's just such a rare chance to get the items that it's just fucking annoying. It's so annoying. So your best bet is to do the PvP, but if you suck at PvP, like I do, you're fucked. So you gotta grind out the annoying enemies. And it just sucks. It's so annoying. I'll probably do it eventually, but for right now, I guess I'm gonna do the grind. If I'm gonna do grinding, I may as well, play RuneScape and grind on there. Feels a lot more, because it's an MMO. It just feels better than just trying to get a couple achievements so I could potentially just never play Dark Souls 3 again if I wanted. I like Dark Souls enough that I'll go through it and play it again probably once I beat it, but it's more one of those once every couple of years type of games for me, more so than a daily thing like RuneScape is. Again, RuneScape's an MMO. Dark Souls is like a more or less single player, just have some fun on your own, just discovering the story and shit type of game. I know if this podcast somehow, if I were to stick with it, get it to possibly be a little bit popular here, at some point, my best friend Ben has been saying for a very long time that he wanted to do a podcast as well, where he basically tests out the durability of various gaming peripherals like keyboards, mice, controllers, all that fun jazz. If this podcast were to get popular enough, I think I would want to bring him in on this, and we could do his testings freely. Because at the end of the day, this podcast is, I guess you could say, is like a therapy for me, since I don't believe in actual therapy. Never have, probably never will. If it's worked for you in the past, good for you. I genuinely am happy that it worked out for you. But for me, I really don't think it'll do anything. So for me, this will be my therapy. Talking to myself on my way to work. Every morning I think about doing this. I'm also viewing this as, if I were to, since I'm not in the best shape, once all the divorce and custody bullshit's done with my ex, and I managed to either sell our house or say fuck it and go into bankruptcy so I don't got to think about it no more, I'm planning on starting to go to the gym, hopefully. I know you have a lower chance of sticking to something you say out loud like this, but I'm saying it. I'm going to do it. So I'm going to try to get in better shape, but, if something were to happen, who knows, like a car wreck, I just have a heart attack at my desk. If I were to die suddenly, this will be recordings of my voice, maybe some glimpses into my personality that my son could see and have potentially forever. So there's that as well. But with that, I'm at work, so I'm gonna go. Hopefully I'll talk to you guys again, and hopefully one day I'll have a big enough crowd of people that enjoy this, maybe they'll start their own. For now, though, I'll see you later.